Hello, hello. Welcome. We are back with more Writingsprints. So, I decided to do sprints today just because I want to just write more. That's the end of that all. We'll get to game stuff eventually. I'm just in a writing mindset right now, and I think I've almost completely cleared my brain out from Project Blasphemy, but I feel like I need to just keep writing in Project Aztec Deathlove to like fully transition myself in. And then once I fully transition in, my brain will be more pliable. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense. But yeah, that's the point of that. So maybe we'll do a game stream at the end of the week, or maybe we'll write more. We'll see when that happens, because obviously I don't plan ahead. There's too many things that can happen. I don't like planning ahead. But I'm gonna pick a timer for us. I was in Esther's stream. There we go. I was like, I couldn't think of her name for a second. I was in Esther's stream for a hot minute.
To be free and
actually, no, I was in her stream the whole time. I lie. So that was fun. I was gonna go to Dez's stream and then jump off her stream to come here, but she had some family stuff, so, which is totally understandable, which was probably better because I ate not at my desk, because if I had gone to Dez's stream, I probably would have eaten at my desk in a rush instead of being able to leave to the other room and like chill and eat, if that makes sense. Yeah, I don't know, but we're gonna do 15 minutes to get our brain in, because I have not looked at my manuscript at all today, because I did YouTube things, and I finally put out the newsletter. So if you want to see that, you can go check out the Ko-fi. It's there. It roughly catches you up to date with the fact that I forgot / just didn't do last quarter's newsletter. So I did a newsletter for this quarter. It's there. I might do a second one as like a proper quarter, but we'll see. I haven't decided. Yeah, so the quarter is up. It's on Ko-fi. It lets you guys know everything. I also have a goal video up that kind of explains some things too, but that won't be up. I wanted it up this month, but that's not happening. So it will be up hopefully at the beginning of next month, but so I haven't edited it yet. Yeah, there you go. Words are difficult. All right, let's do 15 minutes. Let me pick a second. Let's do that one. All right, 15 minutes. Get our brains in. Give me a chance to read the last few things I wrote to remember what the hell I have to write next. And yes, so 1, 2, 3, go. All done. I hope everyone did well. I reread where I last left off and then had to make a quick decision on, do I want hello, hi, Silent Queen, welcome. I had to decide if I wanted to change point of views quickly or if I wanted to stay. I decided to stay in the point of view I was in. Oh, I didn't change my category on Twitch. There we go. Sometimes I'm on the ball with that, and sometimes I am not. But I'm enjoying this. I'm trying to also make this. This is the second time I'm writing a space station story versus the other one I didn't finish. But I want them to be different so that when I do publish that one, it's not a carbon copy, but I also know there's only so much variation you can have in a space station. But I decided to do more of in just this quick 15-minute sprint, where my other space station pretty much has an AI, a very intelligent personal AI. So this one, to the point where it's the AI has a name and it's the anagram of what the AI is, but it's a name. Everyone on the station considers the computer as almost like a person. It's like a part of the crew kind of thing. So for this space station, I think I'm gonna keep it relatively simple, where it's not going to have a name. It's just going to be called computer, very much like Star Trek, where they just call the computer and the computer responds at the panel or just in the space area in general. I think that's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm doing so far, because I'm I don't want to carbon copy, at least not right now. If I do another story in a space station where I need to have the station as an entity, I'll have to decide then. But right now I have two, and I think it's fair for me to have one space station be super smart and one space station be, dumb. Be dumb in a relative term of how dumb can a space station be? How dumb can an AI be? It's not a person. Let's see. I set up the next timer. Nope. Hello, mouse. Nope. Come on. There we go. All right, let's pick a new song and we'll do 20 minutes, get some solid work done. Let's do... We'll do this one. Excuse me, sorry. All right, 20 minutes. Get some solid work done. 1, 2, 3, go. all done. Here we go. Press all the buttons. Sorry, I was literally just about to start a dialogue, and then I looked at the clock and I was like, oh shit. But I got through a description. I got through a description of a morning. I know sometimes people say you don't need to describe like your main character's daily routine or like a morning or a day, but I feel like it's important because I'm setting up how different it is for her to live on this space station when she's lived her whole life on Earth on a farm. Yes, she's lived in like luxury to a point, but she's lived on a farm. She's never been to space. She's never been to the space station. So there's a lot of differences between how she's grown up and how she's gonna live now on the space station. So I think taking a moment to describe like a morning, like her first proper morning there, and being like, okay, this is how so and so showed me how to do this, so I'm doing it this way, kind of situation. Excuse me. So I think that's important. I think that's fine to do. At least right now. Definitely can't get away with doing that all the time because that would be boring. Versus, I don't think I would ever describe my male main characters like morning or daily routine, at least not in that much detail, because he's lived on this space station for a while and he's lived in a lot of different situations and in more luxury than she has. So there wouldn't really be a necessity for it, I feel like. But for her, from her point of view, it's a good thing to be like, oh, this is how this is, and oh, this is interesting, this and blah 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 blah, to be able to show this like contrast where she's not necessarily a little silly country bumpkin, but like kind of sort of there's like an essence there. I want to have like the tiniest bit of a taste of like this country girl going out into the city, but not exactly. I don't want like full on stereotypes. not in for that. We're very spacey today. All right, set the timer up. Hold on, someone's texting me. Okay. We are good. It's just my mom reminding me about something tomorrow. That is tomorrow's problem. All right. Let's do. Nope, I forgot to do the thing. I forgot to switch the frickin' scene. Also, we need to pick a song. Let's do this one. This one. Okay. All right. Let's do 25 minutes. My face is itchy. Okay. 1, 2, 3. I'm not on the right time. Go. All done. Hello, Thang. Welcome for coming. Welcome for coming. Thank you for coming. That's what I meant to say. I said two things at once. It's interesting that Stream Elements finally decided to work. I don't know what's wrong with it. I also thought I turned off the hey option, but that's fine. It's been acting weird since the beginning of the year. I hope work is doing good for you. I am writing our first day on station. How's your sci-fi thrown together romance coming along? It is going well. Like I just said, we're first day on the station, and he is about to show her to her like cafe bakery thing that she's going to be running for him. So, or not for him, but with him, kind of. because one of the reasons they got married is so that she can run this bakery cafe kind of thing. Because on the station, so he runs a nightclub, which his family is very famous for running nightclubs and clubs and bars and stuff on Earth. But how this like the pleasure area or entertainment area of the space station works is that the people who run the nightclubs also have to run like a day space also. So what tends to happen is someone runs a nightclub, and then whoever their spouse is, or a family member, but it's usually a spouse, runs a bakery or a coffee house or a tea house or something along those lines that's open during the day. And it's like a necessity at this point. And the male main character had been running on like borrowed time and needed to get married so that somebody could run the like cafe thing. So he is about to show her her space, pretty much. Like, he's not really going to have much to do with running the cafe, just like she's not really going to have much to do with running the nightclub, even though they're going to be in each other's spaces, but they're very like their own separate things. Got you to keep the business running. Yeah, 24 hours. Exactly. Very similar. Or it's like you have the night life and then you have the day life, and they can blend in between, or it can be very separate. So, and I have it set up as like this part of the station, this part of the pleasure station or entertainment station, set entertainment space within the station is called the underworld, because I'm gonna theme all the other business owners after other gods of death, because my two characters are based off of the Aztec Lord and Lady of the Underworld. So the other characters that are within the pleasure station or within the underworld are also gods or goddesses of their respective underworlds. So like I have the classic like Hades and Persephone are gonna be there. I have the Egyptian gods and I have North's gods. So which will be fun in each one. So like the North's gods, I was like, how am I gonna make this work? But because Hela doesn't have a partner, at least in anything I could look through without, I mean, I didn't like spend hours upon hours in detailed searching of like North's text, but from what I could find, Hela doesn't have any kind of like spouse or partner or anything. So I made it like a family affair where Hela runs like a bar pub, and then her father Loki runs like a brunch cafe, and then they both run the hollow sim spaces, or like Star Trek's version of like a holodeck, but I don't want to call it a holodeck. They have like an extra side section where they run that as well. So I'm gonna change the gods' names because I don't want them to be like Loki and Hela and like Iris or Hades. I don't want them to have those names. It's not a priority for me to find their names yet. But yeah, I'm gonna have like a reference to who they are and context clues, hopefully. Yeah, that's kind of like how that's gonna be like. The Egyptian gods, Osiris runs a lounge, and then Iris runs a tea house. So there's something a lot of people don't know about that. An old name for Loki is Little pet? Oh, that's interesting. Loki is a special interest of mine. Yeah. From before Marvel's made him really big or after? I'm writing down your name suggestion though. I did not know that. I do know some North's lore, but not as much. I know more about Egyptian lore. Actually, like Egyptian and Greek and Roman were like my two favorite mythologies. With like North's being something a little bit more modern that I know, and then obviously I'm trying to learn about my Aztec mythology and heritage through writing, but also just in general. Okay, cool. Marvel just gave me an action figure to put on my altar. He's my god, and Eris is my goddess. That's amazing. That's fun. They got his father wrong. His mother was Laffy, and his father was I mean, writers take liberties. The Greek gods in the DC universe are quite interesting and don't always follow actual Greek lore. So that is something that I have found interesting. Like within that, Zeus is not as much of an asshole as he is in actual Greek mythology and Roman mythology. Sipping from a comic book Loki bottle. Yes, why not? It gives you an easy way to have like Loki themed things because Loki's such a prominent character in the universe right now because of the movies and the TV show. I do like that they made it canon that Loki is non-binary and bi, because a lot of, from what I understand of like Norse mythology, they still label him as like a he, but he's a shapeshifter and goes between all kinds of things all the time in a lot of the stories that Loki's in. So I think that's fun. And it's nice that Marvel was like, yeah, we'll keep that. That's fine. Loki was a shapeshifter. Yeah, and he was the mother of, the 8-legged horse. Exactly, yes. I read a fan fiction of Loki where they mentioned this, and the like Marvel fan fiction Loki was like, that's a rumor that never actually happened. I forget what god he mentioned in the fan fiction was like, he was just angry at me and that's why he made up that story and that lie. I was like, oh, that's a deep dive. I was like, that is a hard deep dive fan fiction writer. Good job for you for knowing this information. That also, because I can never say the name of the horse correctly. That horse, when I was trying to look up some creatures for a different project, it popped up, and I was like, this is not relevant to Mesoamerica. Google, you need to reevaluate what I'm asking. Loki seemed to screw up on occasion, but he would then make up even better for it. Yeah, he wasn't as like black and white bad as as Marvel was trying to make Loki to be at the beginning of his introduction in Thor, I think the way Loki is actually in the TV show is very much more from the little bit that I know of Norse mythology, very much more in a line to like who Loki is, which I thought was interesting. Just call it the Slippy. That's what his name. Oh, really? That's what it means. Oh, okay, cool. I totally understand Loki and Thor. I am adopted. Yeah. I could understand. I don't know because I'm not adopted, but I can understand like how heart-wrenching that can be, and like complicated, especially complicated. It is not the button I meant to press. Okay. Pick a song. Do this one. Let's see. Especially when you don't find out until you're older, that can really mess with your identity. I could see where that would be true. But I feel like that probably happens more often than not, I would assume. I don't know. I shouldn't assume. I just feel like that would probably happen more often. That's set. I knew all my life, but I've known 2 adoptees who didn't, and they were really messed up and lashing out. Oh, that's tough. That's so complicated too. Like, it's a good thing that you got adopted and you're not just, like abandoned, but also the lie of not knowing. Ugh, that's hard. That is a whole complicated mess that I am definitely not the person to analyze. Yeah, my heart was breaking for them, but I had to protect myself from their pain. Yeah, yes, for sure. Very important. It's always important to make sure that you are okay first, because you cannot help other people if you're not okay. And sometimes it's just never an okay situation to help someone else. Okay. I'm going to start the next timer. Ow. And 25 minutes, and we're going to be on theme, and we're going to have some coffee. The only problem with this timer is that it constantly gets ads, so I'm going to have to pay attention. But I like it. It just has too many ads on it. And I don't think it has anything to do with her. Yeah, because she doesn't even have technically enough to be monetized. It's just YouTube being a butthole. Yay, Sprint. I have a scene that isn't being as easy to write. Well, there you go. Hopefully 25 minutes and some refreshing coffee art will help you. All right. So 1, 2, 3, go. right, all done. I had to finish a sentence. But we are good. How did everybody do? If you want to share. I just dropped a surprise on the female main character that the male character did. One of those like, oh my gosh, he didn't, did he? Kind of things. Those just like little tidbits that will add up into this couple falling in love. Because it's a new kind of, I didn't expect it, but it is kind of like a new challenge, a new way for me to think, because these characters are not starting the story in love, because it's an arranged marriage, and I've never done that before. Anytime I have started a book, the characters are already in love, and we're just telling the story of like how they're getting together or stuff like that. But this is literally like day 3 of these characters knowing each other. And I'm just like, this is kind of fun, where I can just like drop little things that will build up to like, oh, I'm in love with them. And I don't know, I think it's going to be fun, especially because it's something different that I haven't done before. Let's see. I'm rewriting the scene a bit after having read up on how the metal tungsten is refined and shaped IRL. I know of that. I don't know any details about it, but I know some like men's rings are made with it, because I remember the like jewelry lady suggesting a ring like that for my husband, and I was like, no, I hate it. It looked ugly. At least the design that was on the ring was ugly, and I was like, no. The technical level of this world is around, or technology, or whatever. I know what you're saying. Level of this world is around 1910, so it's doable. Okay. Tuscan is often alloyed with steel and carbon. Okay. That's fair. 1910. Yeah, that wasn't that long ago. I mean, I think we had tanks then. So yeah, we could mass murder people. So yeah, why not? Why not? It's also what the filaments of incandescent light bulbs are made of. Oh, I did not know that. Fun facts dropped here by Tang. I'm enjoying the fact that this story is written. I'm consciously doing it, but I feel like I'm doing it, at least right now, that I'm enjoying in a fun way that has a lot of Latin representation. I have the characters saying certain words in Spanish and referencing certain things in a way where I'm like, okay, in the future, very much like in Star Trek, in Star Wars, there's usually like one language that is universal. And I'm obviously writing this in English, so like English is going to be that basic universal language. But what would probably happen is very much like how I grew up here as someone in America who is like, I don't know, 3 or 4 generations Mexican American or something like that, where I didn't grow up speaking Spanish, but there are certain words that I say in Spanish all the time, or like my brain doesn't even think of the English word. I just automatically say the Spanish word. I can't necessarily say a whole sentence or communicate in Spanish with someone, but there's a very much like a Spanglish kind of just mix in my brain, and that's kind of what I'm trying to come across in here, where there's certain words that you're like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna say that obviously in Spanish, especially around other people that would understand what I'm saying, but trying not to be too general. I think is also going to be an interesting thing, because not all Latin people are the same. So, oh yes, I love caffeine. I even named my World of Warcraft guild Caffeine. Yes, caffeine is a good thing and a bad thing, but a lot of times it's a good thing. This is fun. Also, I think throwing in other Latin cultures. So, like, on the spot, I decided that the head bodyguard is going to have Cuban descent. So I quickly looked up Cuban coffees so that I could give him a coffee to drink. So, yes. Very, very interesting. I also thought it was going to be harder to not focus on so much Segi times, because the last 2 projects I've written have been for the erotica pen name, so obviously I've been writing a lot of that. But no, I think I'm enjoying this fun build up to a relationship. So, coffee has a very fascinating history too. It does. Yes, it does for sure. And I actually watched a video. I don't know when I watched it, but I watched a video where they were talking about how coffee changed the world. So like tea was so big and like universal, but a lot of big world things happened, like Isaac Newton and stuff like that. A lot of realizations happened as coffee was getting bigger in the Western world, as unfortunately we were colonizing. They were colonizing and bringing things back like coffee, and how coffee changed the brain and the body and all this stuff, brought up like huge world changing things like understanding gravity. But the point of that video was talking about how we've had this high of things, and now drugs like, marijuana and stuff is going to bring a whole new revolution to the world because we've been living on a high. Now we need to chill out. That was the point of that video. But I didn't realize the correlation between coffee and like a lot of giant historical big thinkers. But it kind of makes sense. Yeah, it's a new muscle to flex in your writing arsenal. Yeah. It's fun too, because I never thought I would be someone who would write about culture, because I have a very complicated feelings and emotions with being called Mexican when I'm not. I wasn't born in Mexico. My parents weren't. We've always been here in America, and not feeling Mexican because I'm not, but then people identifying me as. And I think there's a lot of other, specifically in the romance world, a lot of other Latin romance authors who are bringing that same mentality of we're not exactly from our heritage cultures, but we're American, and bringing that like second, third, or even first, but a lot of like second, third generation feelings to the forefront, where it's like we're pretty far apart from there, but people still identify us, and we have different emotions and feelings in connection to like culture and stuff like that. And I think that's kind of where I'm tapping into, especially as it's a sci-fi and it's in the near future. So I can kind of play on that even more, where it's like everything is so diluted so far in the future as we get closer and closer to being just like a collective human species, where like culture and identity becomes muddled slightly. So fun. Not that I'm going to touch on all of that because this is a romance, but my brain, it's in my brain. And that's what's important. It's like all the world building authors do, and only like 10% actually goes into the book, and the rest of it's just for us. It's just our knowledge. That's the part that I will never think is not funny. How much work we put into things, and it's actually like just the tiniest bit, just a drop of it goes into the actual thing. Now that's an angle, being a white gal, I haven't thought about a lot, but now you have me intrigued. Yeah, it's interesting, and it's not even like we're the first or like the most recent minority to come into America, because really a lot of us didn't come into America. Like specifically, most of the people have passed now, but I'm not far enough apart from a generation of family who literally went to sleep in Mexico and then woke up the next morning and suddenly were told we were American because a border moved over. So I'm not that far from that generation, actually, even though most of those people have already passed. But I'm not really that far apart. But we haven't had a cultural solid identity within America for that long, versus like African Americans who were brought here but fought and were determined to have like an identity. So there's a lot of books that are just about, or reference, or some kind of live in this sense of I'm here, I've always been here, and this is who I am, and this is who we are as like African Americans. And we don't necessarily need to reference Africa at all, but so much of Latin book culture in the past has been focused on the other Latin countries or the story of migrating here. And there's not a lot of stories about those who were already here or who have been here for multiple generations, where we're so far removed enough from the like main place that our feelings are so separated. Ironically, where you can find some of that is in books written by the Asian population. I have noticed, which I think is very interesting, because they are, well, now Middle East actually is, but before the Middle East was like the most recent minority culture to come into America. The Asian population was the most recent minority culture to come into America. So I find that interesting that they're allowed to have that. I feel like allowed is not the right way to say that, but like they're able to express that and have that journey within like literacy in the book world, but it's so much harder for us or at least how I see it in my experience, which is just me and not universal. Yeah, the situation. The situation reminds me of the Indian Pakistani split. Yeah, where people suddenly became not Indian, even though they were Indian, until the border was drawn and reinforced. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's a little bit harsher, but even the example of so many Native American tribes, when they were taking kids away from their homes, so many people grew up thinking that they were part of one tribe, but actually they were part of a different tribe. And because they were taken away and forced into being a certain way or forgetting things, they like lost so much understanding and culture and stuff like that. Messing with borders and like how you're able to like view and identify it can be really hard. But borders are really a big thing. When you decide, oh, I'm the boss and I'm going to take over, and then you just don't care about the people living in the area. Yeah, that's absolutely horrifying to think about. Mm-hmm. Yep. For sure. But I always talk about scary things. Let's do another sprint. Let me pick a song. We'll do this one. And we'll keep on the coffee train. We went space up and now we're going coffee down. All right. And remember, this timer is backwards, so it starts from 0 to 20 versus 20 to 0. So, all right. And 1, 2, 3. All done. I missed it. How did everyone do? I am about to move on to a fun scene, but I probably need to do some research to do it, which is like a dress-up scene. Our beautiful male main character is going to take our female main character to go get some dresses. We're gonna go shopping, sort of. It's more like we're gonna go to a tailor and she's gonna be fitted for a dress for the night where she's gonna be introduced. And then with her measurements, she'll be allowed to pick outfits however she wants. But it's gonna be fun because I'm in the male point of view right now, and I'm gonna be able to do the whole like, oh, she's so pretty, and like I feel awkward. like yeah. Let's see. Just finished the last of my workity work. There you go. But I was thinking about how to meld the little science lesson about Tuscan and light bulbs. They know what bulbs are since carbon bulbs were a thing IRL, but the new bulb is as bright as the sun. Meld that with magic though. Well, you could have that the only way to get the filaments, there's a multi-urgy. I know what I'm saying, but I'm not saying that correctly. Wizard who can feel the metal. So that even goes better with what I was thinking. So because it's in the 1910s, and technically they wouldn't have the fancier bulbs just yet, what you could do is shortcut that. Shortcut that and have the new bulbs as a thing in your world, but the only way to get them is through like magic. Like the only people that can create them are wizards, or maybe even like the specific metallurgy wizards are able to create the filaments to make these brighter, fancier bulbs. And it makes it more of like an elitist thing, maybe, because they are like a specialty item. So only like the elite to have these kind of bulbs. What was I doing? I was going to the next playlist. Let's see. Yeah, the Bad City is making them, and they are using fire mages to mass produce the bulbs, since they're going to be a possible comet impact winter soon. Oh. Yeah. So just make it something that like you can only obtain by magic, because obviously they don't have like the correct technology to actually get there normally. So fast forward it with magic, because magic is the perfect cheat for everything. It's the best cheat for everything. We'll do this. That's not what I wanted. There we go. Oh, actually, I don't want this. We'll do it with them. Some of the things yes, it's science fantasy, or sci fantasy sci fantasy is what I've been hearing more people use. But I stumbled upon it, and it's like a tiny niche in the like self-pub world of science fantasy. But TradPub is starting to like step their toes into it. So, and it's becoming a little bit more popular in the self-published world. Not that big, it's still tiny, but it's building up. So people are calling it sci fantasy. So that's what some of my other things are kind of inspired by too, where it's like it's taking place in the future and there's technology, but there's also magic for other reasons. Because really, ideally, you could say that Star Wars is a sci fantasy, because it's science fiction but with magic. That's what the Force is. It's magic. They're space wizards. So but there's some other I watched a video, I forget, with this guy who has done science fantasy books, and he was like, the big thing is I write science fiction, and instead of using science to explain certain things, I use magic instead to explain the things. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Yes, I consider Star Wars to be a space opera with wizards. Yes, I agree. Some people would not agree with you or with us, but I agree. Yes. Or even like in which one was it? I think it was Thor of the Dark World where Thor takes, I forget what her name is, but his girlfriend to Asgard, and they're like explaining things to her, and he's like, "Oh yes, magic and whatever," and she's like, "Oh yeah, this sciencey, yeah, Jane Foster." She's like, "Oh, this is like something physics or whatever," and Thor's like, "Huh?" But they're like opposites of each other. So I feel like it works. Science fantasy can definitely work. Where it's like, yeah, there's a science answer for this, but I could also just explain it by magic, and it works exactly the same way, but it's funner. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Thor Dark World. Yeah, because it's when she gets like poisoned or something like that. Yeah, there's also a thing that Arthur C. Clarke said that sufficiently advanced science technology is indistinguishable from magic. Yes, I remember that quote. Yes, I agree with you. Because it's the same idea of like time travel. Like people say, if we were to take our technology and go to the past, the people in the past are not going to know what the technology is. They're just going to assume that it's some kind of magic, whether it's good or bad. Like taking a picture. I mean, some native cultures still believe that, like taking a picture takes your soul, so you're not allowed to take pictures. Paintings are okay, but taking an actual picture is not. Or like looking into like a video camera is like a mirror, all kinds of things that like are still like relatively to our time or close to our time, where you could really rationalize that. And we prove the whole reason we have a cell phone is because in Star Trek, the guy who invented the telephone or the mobile phone wanted a communicator like Kirk, and that's why he invented the cell phone. So these folks in my novel have a very intricate knowledge of magic as a scientific theory. Ooh, but it's also kind of elitist. Oh, yes. I love that. Yes. Yes. Do that. Yes. That is amazing. That's awesome. Oh, about the Kirk thing? Yes. Yeah, and actually it's Motorola. The man who started the Motorola company, the whole reason was because he wanted a communicator like Kirk. And I don't know if there's still pictures of him. There probably is because it's the internet. But his personal first cell phone looks almost identical to the communicator from Star Trek original. The original Star Trek. And it's so cool. But even if like a lot of things like a iPad with like a pencil, if you think about it in Star Trek, just even keeping it in like Star Trek OG, they have those pads. There's not paper. It's just a pad that's like at like an angle. It's like a triangle pad where they write on the pad with a pen. We have that now. You can do that now with a stylus and a tablet. You can write on there. So, or like some refrigerators now have like a computer in it and a screen, and you can like talk to it and it helps make your list and stuff like that. That's like having the computer in the wall panel in your room. Also, in the movie 2001, they have tablets with moving pictures. Exactly. That was in like 1968 when they conceptualized that. Exactly. And then they made it better in the idea about it better in Next Generation, where the tablet is more flat, like what we have, or the tab, excuse me, is more flat, like what we have now. So, Arthur C. Clarke again. He wrote the novel. Exactly. Yep. Science came first and was important, and then people were like, I dream about the future. And then science is like, I like your dream and I want to make it reality. So now fiction becomes reality. And they like science facts and science fiction 100% feed each other so much. Also horror. Horror also feeds into science fact. 2010 was the best present a boyfriend ever could have given a nerdy teenage girl. Did I pick? I did pick Timber. Okay. This was back in the early 80s when the book was new. Oh yeah, that would make sense. That would make sense. Though, you know, back in the 80s, nerdy teenage girls didn't get boyfriends. You could have grew up and, if you were lucky, be a nerdy woman and get a boyfriend. Because they were worse than they are now. Actually, no. It's cool to be a nerd, both male and female. I had a nerdy boyfriend. See, no, that's how that works. That's how that works. That's the only way that works. I'm just kidding. That's super stereotyped. That, or you get like my dad, who was like secret nerd because he was also an athlete. So he looked good and was well built, but was also secretly a super fucking nerd. Him and my godfather, both of them secret nerds. But if you didn't know it, you just think they're jocks. You would just think they're jocks. Let's pick. Do this one. He's still a nerd. So is my dad. Well, did you watch my Minecraft? No, you weren't. So I streamed, I guess it would be last week, maybe now? No, 2 weeks now. I went back and streamed Minecraft, and I got my dad into Minecraft and brought him onto our friend's server, which is the Minecraft server. And the engineer in him cannot not try and make realistic things. He has like a whole train system. He has all these buildings that like make spatial sense, and yeah. Oh, built a radio when he was 17. That's dedication there, and smarts. He and I built a TV, one of the early solid state kind, in the late 70s when I was like 7, 8 years old. Oh, that's fun. I remember sorting the diodes and resistors and stuff. That's fun. That like reminds me of, I didn't build anything with my dad. I was definitely not the builder, but spending nights outside with the telescope looking at the stars. That was our thing. My sister did the building stuff with my dad. She got a degree as a mechanic, even though no one would hire her. Pretty short. That industry is biased, or yeah, biased, sexist, all things negative, unfortunately. Astronomy, yes. I love that too, which is why I had to intro a possible comet impact. Yes. Yeah. My dad was also, he has a minor in planetary science. So he took me up to some of the observatories here in Arizona because like he had to go for school. So I got I have very vague memories because I was really small, but I am such an astronomy nerd. I know where the planet in this novel is at, and what the universe and where it's at right now. That's cool. That's dedication. Dedication to like reality. Though I say that, and I kind of just did that in my book, where I'm like, Earth and the station that's a ring like around the Earth, like if Earth has an artificial like ring like Saturn, isn't the same clock, so like they're just slightly off. So she had asked the computer what time it was at home, and it was a few hours later because the rotation was off. Science fantasy. Ooh, yes, exactly. You know, a ring. Yeah, that's how the space station is. It's just like a ring in orbit, and it can have like elevator connectors to the ground if need be, and then you have like a lift up, but they don't stay, which is why the orbit is allowed to be slightly off. It's still like free floaty. Space elevators, yes. Yeah. They're still like teleports. Not that I've technically introduced them. They're still teleports, but you know, sometimes you might want to do it slightly old-fashioned. All right. Well, let's do our last 15-minute timer. Close out. I first read science fiction about those in the Mars trilogy. Oh, I don't think I've read that. All right. Let's do 15 minutes. start wrapping brain things up. And 1, 2, 3. All right, all done. We stopped pretty much at a perfect time because I was actually trying to procrastinate walking into this tailor shop because I need to have a moment to look through Pinterest and look at dresses and things because I don't exactly know what I want her to wear. So oh, that's weird. Okay. YouTube sent me a message saying that there was another audio thing. I'm like, no, there's not. Lies. Glad that you got to a good pause point. Yeah, I definitely was like just having dialogue. So like I'm gonna procrastinate in a positive way, but I'm gonna procrastinate walking into the store. It's probably dialogue later when I go edit this in the future that I'd probably end up taking out anyways, but it's fine. It's fine. But how did you do? How did you do thing? Do you get to a good point? I am cold. I have to go sit under the blanket after this. Well, I got a few sentences further, but it's a little tricky. Yeah, that's fair. You're doing like complicated stuff. So, hell yes, it's complicated. I don't want to be too obvious yet what's going on. Oh yeah, that's really excuse me, that can be really tricky when you're trying to like ride the line of I don't want to tell the reader just yet, but I need to like address things. Oh, you're doing complicated things too. I'm lost with emotional stuff. I guess so. Yeah, if it's not like your thing. If anything, this is slightly harder for me because, like I said earlier, I've never written a story where the couple isn't already in love or infatuated with each other. I mean, the male main character is having moments where he's like, oh, she's cute, or identifying that he kind of wants to just like touch her, like not necessarily inappropriate touch her, but he wants to physically like interact with her, but he's holding himself back. But there's not necessarily oh, I love this person just yet. And then she isn't really having any of those moments just yet, besides one where she was like, why is my heart beating so fast? I don't understand. So we're having the like, I'm building up to this cute crush moment. I'm hoping. I'm hoping. I'm just trying not to smash an old light bulb over the reader's head. Why not? It might be fun. It might be fun. But yes, in the end, everything has a challenge for everybody to a certain extent. Like you're doing some like in a certain way pretty like detailed hard science fiction stuff, even though you're definitely writing in the realm of like sci-fi fantasy, but I could not. System, because I cannot bother to be detailed. Very much like any fantasy I've written, I'm like, let's do a soft magic system because rules are fun, but I also do not want to be bothered to make real rules. I'm also in the process of packing up to go home finally. Oh, that's fun. I mean, well, it depends. I hate packing, so I would not think it's fun. Some people like packing. Packing is not fun. Also, unpacking is more unfun to me. Last time my husband and I moved, it took us forever to unpack things. And in reality, there are literally still boxes that we actually never unpacked. Mostly because we don't have space for them. But there are things we didn't want to get rid of. But yeah, we're just like, no, not unpacking. Not unpacking. And we're going to have to move this year. And I'm not looking forward to again, having just boxes of things that we just don't want to unpack. Oh, I mean, packing my purse. Oh, and briefcase. I'm not moving anywhere except 5 miles from work to go home. That's fair. But see, I'm already thinking about it because I don't have to move this year. I'm like dreading it. So my brain went exactly to there. But that's fun. You get to go home now. Ooh. All right. Well, we're gonna go ahead and go because it's past our time that we normally leave anyways. And I'm cold and I want to go hide under a thicker blanket than my office blanket. I'm planning on moving to NOLA in the near future. I'm sure then it's pretty late for you, I'm sure. Yeah, it's 11:58. My husband already texted me about 30 minutes ago that he's on his way. So, yes. I also try and get off before he gets home too. That's usually what my time limit is. Yes, get warm. Yes. It doesn't help that I have the fan on to keep my laptop cool. So, but yeah, things that have to happen so that we can function. But yes, that is it. Thank you everyone for coming or watching the replay if you are watching, and for Thing for showing up. and hanging out with me. And yeah, I will probably stream Friday. We may stream again, or we may do some more writing. It depends on how I feel when I wake up Friday morning. But yes, that is it. Okay, I'm glad to keep you company during your stream, and your conversation was yes. I'll see you next time. But yes, so hit the subscribes and bells and whatevers to find out what the hell I'm doing Friday. And yeah, that is it. I will see you guys hopefully Friday if nothing happens for whatever I decide to do that morning. Bye.